Hi witches, welcome to our second Ask a Witch session where I continue to answer your questions which you submitted to me via Patreon. Go and check out video 1. We will be having video 3 as well, our third Ask a Witch session. That one is going to be exclusive to Patreon and I will be showing that in our Samhain/Halloween October edition. So if you want to know what the answers are to your questions, stay tuned. Hi everyone, welcome back to the video. I'm Wren, I'm known as the Cemetery Witch, and as I explained in the intro, I am answering your questions that my lovely tier 3 have submitted to me over on Patreon. You guys got to ask me absolutely anything you want, and I am answering. It has been so much fun. I've really enjoyed doing this. As I explained before, these are completely random questions. They are anything that tier 3 wanted to ask. They are fun, they are personal, they're random. Some of them are more serious, and of course, some of them are witchcraft related. I've not added any questions in, I've not taken any questions out, I have not amended any of the questions. These are the genuine questions, and I've really enjoyed doing this, not because it's been self-indulgent, but because I've been able to talk about some slightly more personal subjects, and in particular my sort of experiences of witchcraft. Rather than going from sort of like a factual teaching angle, it's been really nice to elaborate and to talk about my personal practices, which might inspire some of you and might make some things feel a bit more relatable. So let's crack on with the questions. The first question is, what is your favourite sandwich? So my favourite sandwich of all time, I don't eat it very often, I have to say, is egg, mayonnaise and onion. Now, I discovered this in Northern Ireland. I lived in Northern Ireland many years ago when I was 20, 21, and I discovered it there. It's a regional thing. So where we get pre-packed sandwiches at Tesco that have got egg mayonnaise in, you will get egg mayonnaise and onion there. I don't know if it's still a thing. We are talking 20 plus years ago. I don't mind whether the onion is red or white, but yeah, this would be my ultimate sandwich basically. I love getting food questions. I don't eat lunch very often. I have a small breakfast purely just for certain reasons. I have to have food in the morning. I'd rather go without. I love fasting, but I'm not able to do that so much now. And then we will have a small dinner. And that's it really. So I don't have lunch very often, but that is my ultimate sandwich. Question 2, where is your favourite place to buy clothes? My absolute favourite place of all is online, and that is a company called Toons Shop. It's a French company who have several designers. I would sort of describe their clothes as sort of verging on sort of like a fairy style, lots of asymmetrical cuts, lots of block colour, so lots of green and purple and burnt orange, a bit witchy, some of them. For some reason their clothes really make me feel like me. I feel quite empowered in their clothes. Unfortunately, I am currently a size sort of 16 to 18, and their extra large is a 16, so I'm at the upper limit of their clothes now, which is a real shame. I'm not in them comfortably and I'm really sad about that. Ordinarily I would be a 12 to 14, but because of my health issues and because of lack of movement in the last 4 years, and I'm now moving, but because I think of perimenopause and being on heart medication, which, you know, slows everything down, it's really hard to shift weight. I'm not losing weight like I did before. I'm trying, but it's just not happening. So yeah, that's my favourite brand, Toons Shop. But I also love All About Audrey. I love my friend's brand Luanova. I like reusing things. I have no problem at all. A lot of my clothes in the past have been from charity shops. I found some amazing things over the years. I like anything that is colourful, as you can see in bright yellow. I love anything that's kind of hippie or witchy. I love comfortable clothes. I have to go for comfort because you know, like I get a lot of pain around my waist, for example, sort of like over my bladder and stuff like that. So it's about comfort for me because my body isn't comfortable a lot of the time. So I have to dress for comfort. Lots of leggings, lots of dresses and skirts, and I'm always cold as well. It doesn't matter how many clothes I put on, and very often I'm cold. So I'm only really comfortable in the summer. Okay, how often do you cast spells? Now this is a tricky one to answer because I would say that I do lots of like little acts of magic around the home, small acts, you know, little charms and little blessings. The larger acts of magic, not as often. I try and rely on the mundane, or, you know, make sure the mundane's happening about 98% of the time. I do believe in using magic if you can, but I believe magic is sacred, casting a circle is sacred, spells are sacred, and I don't want to forget that. Equally, I think I do a lot of work in my head. I do a lot of work on the astral plane. I'm very, very good at manifesting things anyway by thinking about them and mulling them over and visualizing them. And so I think I do a lot of magic without actually even sort of intentionally meaning to or realizing. But in terms of actually casting a magic circle and doing, you know, those bigger acts of magic, not as often. But there's magic in my everyday life, absolutely. Do you eat the seasons? Yes and no. Yes and no. I'm a big proponent of eating the seasons. Things that are in season have all the vitamins and nutrients that we need for our body. I think it's really, really important. I definitely hit those strawberries in the summer when they're out. I definitely make the most of what is about in some respects. But then in other respects, you know, we're a typical working household. I've got to get things done. My husband's quite fussy. And so there are a core sort of selection of recipes that I rely on all throughout the year. But there's definitely an adjustment in summer, winter, autumn, definitely. To the meals that we choose. So like we might have more salad in the summer because it's warm and we feel like that, but eating a salad in the winter doesn't quite have the same appeal. So I wouldn't say I'm on a big kick to reflect eating the seasons and, you know, making seasonal choices, but at the same time I think some element of that comes naturally to me as a person anyway, because I believe in that. So yes and no. It's a tricky one, that one. You're an incredible teacher. Have you thought about writing a book? Yes, I've thought about it, and the answer is no. Several reasons for this, and it's a really great suggestion. I am not a skillful writer. I don't have a great amount of flair. I'm a very, very sort of factual writer who just gives the facts. And I don't think there is much that sort of fills out my work in terms of talent. And that's okay, that's just how it is for me. There's also not a lot of money in books. I don't feel the need to be an author. And I'm very aware of the fact that when you create a book, if you have a publisher, which ideally you do need, ideally you want a publisher rather than self-publish. There's nothing wrong with self-publishing. But really if you're going to do a book, you want it to go out on a big scale. And when you have a publisher, you're very much at the mercy of them. And they make so many creative decisions. And I don't really want that. Also, writing a book would be time that I just don't have. I do really quite long hours in the week to try and free up some time at the weekend, because I've still got, you know, youngish children, not little, but we're still very much in a family situation, and my brain needs that time to switch off from creating content as well. So I don't have any extra time at all. Sometimes I'm at my desk at 6:30 in the morning, so I don't physically have any more time that I could squeeze out of myself, you know, like getting up a couple of hours earlier and starting at 4. I just couldn't do it. My joy is connecting with people. So I get to write in the nature of, you know, doing Patreon and planning videos for YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that. But my joy is connecting with people. But more specifically, my joy is connecting other people to each other and to events and to resources and to things within Witchcraft that they are going to love. So I really enjoy what I do. I mean, yeah, of course it would be lovely, wouldn't it, to have a book that you've written, because it would feel like you're really leaving a legacy. You're leaving something in the world. I have got my grimoire that I've written, and I feel like that is kind of like my legacy. But yeah, I get to put my writing and all that. I get to sort of really enjoy that side of me in that way. It's a great question though. Somebody I look up to, okay, probably my late grandmother, Dorothy Kate. She had 5 children. Her husband died when they were very small. My grandma's last child would have been 1 or just under 1. She was extremely well off when my grandfather was alive, and then he died of polyarteritis nodosa, and then she became very poor, and his wealth was not, we're not talking inherited wealth, we're just talking, you know, he had a good job. He was an engineer, I believe. But it was really unusual in the 1950s for someone to be able to hold a family of 5 children together. There was no welfare state back then. So it was just sheer hard work and determination and bloody-mindedness that my grandmother kept her whole family together. And yeah, she was a very determined woman. And I just feel like she's done, well, did, because she's not with us anymore, she's done a sort of a better job at life than I have in many ways. I mean, don't get me wrong, I definitely share that same strong woman determination, and I've shown that through handling my health and the challenges that I've faced. But there's definitely been challenges that I haven't come out of well. There's definitely been decisions I've made that I've regretted. There's definitely been things that I'm not so proud of, and so I don't feel like I'm like quite the woman that my grandmother was. There were aspects of her I didn't like, some aspects of her behaviour sometimes, which perhaps I find maybe mirrored in myself sometimes. You know, you have to have an honest chat with yourself, don't you, about the sort of pros and cons of, you know, your family personality and things that get passed down and stuff. But I had great times with my grandmother as well, and I loved to go in to sit and talk with her and ask her questions about the past and when she was younger. And yeah, I miss her very much. I wish I could have a conversation with her now. I do feel her around sometimes. There was one time in particular when she really, really wanted to talk to me, and she made that known. And yeah, she pops up, like whenever I've been to see like a medium, she tends to pop up, and she's very sort of like pushes to the front, I think. But yeah, I really look up to her. That's the person that came to mind first when I thought of that question. How do you keep your practice meaningful even during busy times? My whole life is 100% about witchcraft. It's my job. So I think it's very easy for me to stay sort of tuned in to what it is I do. I think it's always meaningful for me. I've never lost that sense. Whenever I do any kind of act of magic, it always feels very, very meaningful. And when I cast a circle, I'm very aware that it's one of the highest acts of magic and it is sacred. And I've made it my sort of mission to make sure I always remember that. I think it's important. I always feel connected to my path. And again, you know, I'm writing about witchcraft every single day. But I do remind myself that I'm a human living a human life, and that life gets in the way sometimes, and that's okay, especially when our children are young. Obviously, when my daughter was tiny, I couldn't get involved as much as I do now. I took her along to as many things as I could. She'd often come to Stonehenge or various sacred sites with me. She'd get involved in that. She'd get involved in little bits of magic where I felt that was appropriate. I always made sure that she was clear that this was my kind of like belief system, and that she might end up believing different things. But yeah, I've tried to keep it meaningful over the years. I take time to observe my surroundings, you know, what's happening outside. It helps that I'm rural. You know, what's happening outside, what are the animals doing, what's the weather doing, what are the trees and the bushes and the shrubs doing, what does that mean to me, what does that mean to my witchcraft practice. I try to be practical and to be involved as much as I can. I'd say definitely as somebody who's in like a teaching or leading role in terms of witchcraft, I do spend a lot of time writing and teaching about it, and there are times when I've been super tired that I have perhaps missed out a little bit on my own celebrations, but I don't feel like to a major extent. I feel like simply observing and honouring is as yeah, it counts, you know, it's just as important. So I will, when it's busy, I will sort of take time out to be mindful, to light a candle mindfully, to think about where I'm at, to make some intentions, light some incense. I do try and be as mindful as I can. But occasionally, you know, you're going to have a week or two where there's other stuff going on. You know, I might have had heart surgery and, you know, I'm very much in the moment of that for a while. But witchcraft is never ever very far from my mind, ever. Have you been to other parts of the world? Yeah, I haven't travelled extensively, but I have seen a fair bit, and probably more than a lot of people. So I wrote down where I've been. I had to have a good think about this, and I was not sure whether I've left stuff off, but I've been to France, I've been to Belgium, I've been to Germany, I've been to Austria, I've been to Italy, I've been to Cyprus, I've been to Spain, I've been to Greece, I've been to Bosnia, I've been to Serbia, I've been to Croatia, I've been to Finland in both the summer and the winter, I've been to Menorca, I've been to Lanzarote, I've been to Gran Canaria, I've been to Fuerteventura, I've been to Scotland, I've been to Wales, I've been to Northern Ireland. I have not been to the Republic of Ireland. I have not been there. And I haven't been further afield over to the east. I would absolutely love to go to Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. I would really love to do Mauritius. I would love to do anywhere that is tropical. So I would very much be about sun, sea, sand. I would love to go somewhere tropical. I would absolutely adore that. Traveling is a little bit difficult with some of my health conditions. I haven't attempted to go abroad yet. I haven't been abroad for about 7 or 8 years, I think. I last went to Cyprus with my parents. Oh no, we went to a wedding in Finland, but before that, for an actual sort of like long proper holiday, it was Cyprus. And I really enjoyed that because it was a very dry, hot heat rather than a humid one. But really, yeah, I'd love to go everywhere, and I'd love to go to those areas of the world that are perhaps deemed a little bit more tricky. So places like Afghanistan, Pakistan, I'd love to go to those. Yeah, I'd love to go everywhere. What's the most impactful lazy witch ritual you've ever done? I don't know. I think this idea of a lazy witch ritual is quite a modern thing. I think I'm quite old school and quite old fashioned in that I think magic is not something that we rush. It's very sacred, but I get the angle of the question, definitely. I think 3-minute candle magic that I mentioned in the last video is very good. I think candle magic is brilliant because there's already some structure to it. Most of us understand how candle magic works, and it's very, very simple to put together and do. Cord cutting, very, very powerful type of magic that again doesn't take too long really. I mean, it might take a little while for your candles to burn down, but in terms of setting it up, making the intention, doing it, you could do that in 3 minutes. I always plan my spells. I'm always thinking about the 4 levels of reality and have I got them all covered. So yeah, I don't know really. I never really approach magic from the point of view of, you know, being lazy and not really being in the mood or not really being bothered. But in terms of like brevity and being kind of doing things that are quick and easy, I think there are just so many things, and it's an absolutely fantastic question, so thank you. Advice for someone who feels guilty for not doing enough witchcraft. Well, first of all, I'm going to say stop, I'm going to say relax, and I want to bring your attention to a little quote from the Charge of the Goddess, which is, "Let my worship be within the heart that rejoiceth, for behold, all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals." I don't think we have to worry if we're enough. I don't think we have to worry if we're doing enough. For me, witchcraft comes from the heart, it's in the heart, and I think if you're a witch through and through, and therefore everything that you do is enough. I don't believe there is a level. I mean, what is that level? Where is that line? You know, what do we have to... I think if we start saying, oh, we need to do one of these a month and we must do this, and I think it becomes contrived, and I don't think witchcraft ever is contrived. You know, it's about things flowing, and it's about going with the flow, and it's about the need as it appears. So I don't believe that, you know, there's stuff that you guys have to be doing. I think if you're learning witchcraft and you're studying witchcraft, then you are engaging in it, and I think that's enough. I think that if you are a witch, you know, and life and time and energy and illness are getting in the way of things, I don't think that means suddenly you're not a witch. I mean, when I get, say I get to the age of 90 and I'm on my deathbed, and I've been on my deathbed for several months, and I'm heading in the right direction, and I haven't managed to do anything at all witchy, although even that, I don't think that's possible. There's always stuff we can do. Am I suddenly not a witch? Am I not witchy enough, you know, even though I've spent my whole life? No, I don't think witchcraft works like that. I think if you have a love for witchcraft, and this is your life, and this is your lifestyle, and this is your passion, I think you're always witchy enough. And I know a lot of people feel guilty, you know, especially when they've got young children and the seasons roll by and the Sabbats roll by, and they don't feel like they've done anything because they haven't gone out and joined lots of people and gone to big events. You don't have to do those, you know, and life is difficult, and we have these periods where we can't get out and do stuff. We do have young children perhaps, or other commitments or work commitments, and that's okay. We're still a part of it. We're still a part of it, and life will change, and there'll be an ebb and flow of what you can and can't do. And witchcraft comes into many aspects of our life. So yeah, I think that all feelings of not doing enough witchcraft or not being witchy enough should go out the window. Obviously, if you're just not engaging at all, absolutely at all, and your thoughts aren't even going to witchcraft, and you're just not, well, let's take a person who isn't witchy at all, who's just not in that world, then yeah, okay, you know, they're not doing enough witchcraft. But otherwise, I think we have to drop the guilt, especially for us women who just have so much on anyway. But yeah, relax, it's all okay. 3 small businesses you love right now. Well, I'm gonna say Pippin's Potions, because obviously I've been doing a little bit of work up there, but because it's an aromatic business, I love smelly things. So I'm going to say Pippin's Potions. I'm going to say Lua Nova, which is my friend's clothing company. I'm very, very excited for her. She has, without going into too much detail, she has gone from an unfortunate situation where she was not happy in life. She's turned that around, and it's really nice to see her sort of leaning into her original qualification, which was in fashion. She went to university and studied fashion for a while. She's worked in some fashion houses in Brazil, and it's nice to see her being creative and really creating something. So that's really, really nice. And then I'm going to say Raw Eden Beauty Apothecary, which is a business down in Southampton. Lovely lady called Lucy who runs that, and I really like her magic mist micellar water. So I'm going to say Raw Eden Beauty Apothecary. Next question. What are your must-haves, essential items for helping you cope with chronic illness? So first of all, it's not really an item. I'm going to say a positive mental attitude. Now, I know this is a cliche, but it's true. I think that it has made a huge difference to my well-being. I think if you take most people with my list of conditions and see how they're faring and then compare them to me, I think the difference is in mindset and attitude. And that's not to put anyone down. It's a tough gig. It's a tough gig having a disability or chronic health conditions, but I do feel that being determined and positive and resolute and brushing myself off, I think it's made me a bit traumatized as well, but I think that it's made a huge difference to things like my recovery after surgery, and just my general coping. What else did I want to say? I'm not saying that people can think themselves well. I do not like the toxic positivity that surrounds chronic illness, where you end up with people saying, oh, you just need to exercise, or you just need to be more positive, or any of that nonsense. Our bodies are mechanical, and sometimes there are mechanical issues. There's no doubt that our mental health and our mental well-being and our way of thinking has an impact on our bodies. That's absolutely undisputed. I do not think we can think ourselves better from cancer or, heart problems. I have got structural issues that no amount of thinking positively or negatively is going to sort of have an impact in terms of fixing it. But I think our ability to cope and our ability to thrive or not thrive, I do think that our attitudes have a huge impact on our situations. I love my fave shower products when I'm not feeling well. I feel better after a shower, so I'd say a shower is an essential item for me. I can guarantee that if I can get myself in the shower, then I will feel a lot better. I do actually have one of those ugly shower chairs. I've had to. My heart is especially bad in the morning when I go from laying down to being upright. So when I go from laying down to having a shower, which is my first job of the day, it can be tough and I can feel really, really unwell. So I do sit down. But just that running water, I mean, it's cleansing, isn't it? It really does feel like it takes stuff away from you, not just dirt, but also just anything that just feels wrong in the body. So yeah, I always feel really good after being in water. Food, that is another huge morale booster for me, and eating like clean, healthy food. I'm also quite I like pizza every now and then, but I find that when I get towards the end of the pizza, I feel like I've just sort of abused myself a bit. So I do enjoy clean food, actually, especially fruit. That always makes me feel good. Food is always a good source of morale, isn't it? I like clean sheets on my bed if I'm feeling unwell. That really, really helps me cope. I like having a clean environment. I like incense and aromatic products. So yes, smelling things I find really, really helpful for my chronic illness. So I'll create a blend in my diffuser, or I'll burn incense. But I find the diffuser is really nice because it's really fresh. So if I'm feeling like, oh, that will make me feel much better. You can get them really, really cheaply. You just need to make sure you don't put too much oil in with the water, and you just need to be careful if you've got pets. I do not recommend, I mean, you see lists online of oils that are safe for animals, but I just don't go there. I just wouldn't go there. Just don't diffuse in rooms that you've got cats or dogs if you can. I guess I'm a really sort of sensory person, so I think all of the things that I've listed, apart from the positive mental attitude, really are sort of like how I feel in my body. So showers, smelling things, ingesting things, clean sheets. Yeah, those are the things that really, really help me kind of stay on top, but also help me if I'm feeling rubbish and I want to feel better. Do you make your own bath and beauty products? Not currently, but I have done. Again, time is a massive factor for this. I will put essential oils in my bath or in my shower. There are all sorts of like quick remedies out there that are really nice. So Meadow Sweet makes a really nice bath soak. So I could get some Meadow Sweet from the side of the road, pop it in a muslin bag, put it in a tub, run some hot water in the tub, and then put my feet in it. And it's so soothing. It's really good for the skin, and it just makes me feel so much better than I did. So I tend to use quick fix things like that. It's been a while since I've made any sort of like lotions and potions. I've made sort of like balms and stuff over the years, and oils. I've got lots of recipes I will be sharing at some point on Patreon. We've not even done aromatherapy yet, but we will. Do you make your own cleaning products / floor washes, etc.? Yes, again, I've shared a floor wash on Patreon already, and we've had some aromatherapy blends. Orange essential oil is actually a key constituent in many cleaning products. So all you really need is some orange essential oil. It's easy to do, and again, we'll have some more recipes on Patreon. We haven't done aromatherapy yet. We've still got lots of other witchy things to do. What are your favourite plants? This is absolutely endless. I really love trees. But just in terms of plants, I really like aromatic plants. So your jasmine, your wisteria, your Philadelphus, your honeysuckle, lavender, thyme, rosemary. I really, really like poppies. And my favourite flower of all is the sunflower. I absolutely adore them because they represent the sun, and I just love the colour of them, and they're usually still available through the summer to like October time. I haven't had my official wedding yet. We got married in 2019 and we just had 2 witnesses. We didn't have any of our planned poems or readings or anything like that. And I grabbed some flowers from the co-op, took them out the cellophane, arranged them, used a ribbon, and in those flowers I had sunflowers. They're my absolute favourite. If you were a fruit, what would you be and why? Well, as much as I don't want this to be the answer, I'd be an apple because I'm good old reliable, I'm quite traditional, I'm versatile, I'm becoming round like an apple, I'm very direct, like what you see is what you get. I'm not very exotic. So yeah, I think I'd be an apple, which is a shame because I'd love to be something like, I don't know, like a dragon fruit or something. That sounds much more exciting, but no, I'm an apple. What is your practice like? So very much land-based practices, seasonal things. I love the Wheel of the Year. Ancestral work is very important to me. I'm not really a deity person, although I have obviously spoken at length on Patreon about my experiences with Coventina, and you know, my surprise at deity work, because I never really considered myself to be like a god and goddess type of person. But yeah, ancestors. And ancestors of the land that I live on are really important to me as well. So my practices are kind of based on those things. I'm a serious magical practitioner. I probably still have a lot to learn myself, because I don't think we ever stop learning, and it's just endless, isn't it, when it comes to witchcraft and magic. I like to think there's a bit of fun in there as well. I would be considered old school because of my age, so I'm 44 now, and so in terms of like some of our contemporaries and older, I would very much be an old school witch. I lean very much towards Druidry as well, my practice. Trees are very important to me. Again, this connection with the land. I guess I'm quite fluid in that. I like the word witch. I've used it throughout all of my practice, but there have been times when I've dropped the term and I suddenly felt a repulsion even to the word. There was a period of time where I didn't like the word witch at all, and I suddenly felt it was like dark and edgy and I didn't like it, but I'm fine with it. I love the word witch. It comes and goes for me, and whilst I say I'm sort of a traditional witch, of course I'm eclectic. We all are, you know, all of our modern practices and even, you know, a lot of modern traditions, they have influences from all around the world. So we're all eclectic witches, we're all eclectic magical practitioners. But yeah, very much land-based practices and knowledge and study. I love plants. I love learning about some of the superstitions of the past, and you know, some of the sort of leechcraft and some of the magical things of our ancestors and why they thought the way they did and why they had the magic that they did and their little magical things that they did. So yeah, very much rooted in the land, very much sort of relaxed and just going with the flow. Anyway, that was the last of our questions. Thank you so much, and thank you so much to my tier 3 patrons for those. Head over to Patreon, absolutely any level, 1, 2 or 3, to watch the final instalment of our Ask Witch session. And if you got this far with this video, thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It really helps the channel. And I'm wishing you a fantastic week, sending you lots of love and blessings. Bye.